Okay, so you want to get smart and you want to get there efficiently. No endless rambling, just the core stuff. That's what we
It's
do.
straight to the point.
Today, we're plunging into something most of us eat pretty regularly, but maybe haven't thought much about, the Cornish Cross meat bird.
Right, the standard supermarket chicken,
But
basically.
precisely. Our guides here are a couple of documents from Stockwell Farms and Orchard, their new note, and an article, The Cornish Cross Meat Bird, a marvel of modern poultry production.
Good sources. They really lay out the details.
And our mission today, really figure out why this specific breed became, well, the king of the poultry aisle. We're digging into its history, biology, farming, food impact, the whole picture.
And the ongoing debate surrounding it, too.
Definitely. And here's something to kick us off. It might stop you in your tracks. A Cornish Cross can hit market weight in just 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, that's incredibly fast.
Think about that. It's like a human baby growing to adult size in less than 2 months. It's that kind of speed that just, well, fundamentally changed everything about chicken production.
It really did. And what's fascinating, I think, is that this bird, which seems so ordinary, is actually the result of decades of really focused, deliberate science.
Right. It wasn't an accident.
No, not at all. The development was a direct response, as both sources mention, to this huge global demand for affordable protein.
So it's driven by need.
Driven by need and driven by economics, efficiency, scale, consistency, those were the goals. Maximum output.
Okay, so it wasn't some, like, ancient breed they just found.
No, definitely not. The Marvel article is clear it's a hybrid, purpose-built.
A hybrid, meaning...
A crossbreed,
Mm.
primarily between the Cornish game hen, known for having a lot of meat on its bones, and other breeds, especially the White Plymouth Rock.
Ah, okay. What did the Plymouth Rock bring to the table?
Rapid growth, mainly, but also, importantly, hardiness, resistance to common diseases. It was a calculated genetic mix.
So strategic breeding.
Absolutely. Aimed squarely at creating a bird that was just incredibly good at producing meat fast. And as New Note touches on, this science was tied directly to the economics of feeding a lot of people affordably.
It all connects. Okay, so beyond its parents, what actually makes this bird such an efficient, well, meat machine? It can't just be the breeding, can it?
Well, the breeding sets the stage, but you're right, it's their actual physiology, how their bodies work.
Like what specifically?
As both sources point out, they're bred for these broad, very muscular bodies, just physically structured for maximum meat yield.
Okay.
But maybe the real kicker is their feed conversion ratio. It's exceptionally high,
Feed conversion ratio,
meaning they turn feed into muscle, into body weight, much more efficiently than other chickens. They need less food to gain the same amount of weight.
wow. So they're just really good at using resources.
Biological marvels of efficiency, basically, turning feed into protein like lightning. The article mentions that typical 4 to 6 pound market weight in, again, that crazy 6 to 8 week time frame.
It's truly rapid. But the article did hint that this kind of super fast growth isn't, well, consequence-free. What are the downsides?
Yeah, that's a critical point. Pushing biology that hard does create challenges.
Like what kind of challenges?
The sources acknowledge that this intense focus on speed can put stress on the birds' bodies. Specifically, their skeletal development sometimes struggles to keep up with muscle growth.
So their bones can't support their weight.
Essentially, yes. Or their organ systems might be strained. It can lead to health issues, unfortunately. And this is, a central part of the ongoing conversation about bird welfare and ethics.
Right, which brings us straight to how they're raised. If you're doing this super fast, super efficient production on a huge scale, what does that farming actually look like?
Well, the article calls it intensive farming practices. Think thousands of birds raised together.
Indoors.
Typically, yes. In large barns or houses designed to maximize the use of space and, again, feed efficiency. In these systems, management is absolutely key. Everything's controlled: temperature, air quality, precise feeding schedules, and constant monitoring of their health.
All geared towards optimizing that rapid growth.
Exactly. Maintaining the cycle, achieving those high production volumes.
And I guess it's this sheer scale, the intensive model, that often sparks the animal welfare debates we hear about.
It does. It's undeniably efficient for producing affordable chicken. Lots of it. But the scale itself raises questions.
About conditions,
Yeah.
stress.
As the article notes, there's a growing push from advocates for better living conditions for ways to minimize stress within these large-scale systems.
Is the industry responding?
There's definitely research happening looking into things like improved housing designs, maybe even tweaking the genetics slightly to breed birds that are a bit more robust, potentially leading to more humane methods without totally losing the efficiency.
So it's a balancing act, a constant sort of push and pull between efficiency and welfare.
It really is.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Why do we like eating them so much? What makes the Cornish Cross such a staple?
Well, from the kitchen perspective, it's prized for being consistently tender and having a pretty mild flavor.
Not too chickeny.
Exactly. As the sources say, it's quite neutral, which makes it incredibly versatile. The article calls it a blank canvas, which I think is a good description.
So it takes on other flavors well. Marinades, spices.
Perfectly. That's why it works for everything from a simple weeknight roast to, fancy restaurant dishes all over the world.
Makes sense. And nutritionally, we eat a ton of it.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
a great source of high-quality protein, which our bodies need, plus other essential nutrients. It's solid nutrition.
But there's always a but.
Well, the article also mentions this growing trend, consumers wanting to know more. Where did this chicken come from? How was it raised?
Transparency.
Exactly. People are looking more at labels, asking about organic options, wanting traceability. That interest is definitely increasing.
Okay, so it's versatile, nutritious, but people are asking more questions. Let's zoom out again. What's the big picture? The economic impact, the environmental side.
Economically, it's huge. The Cornish Cross is like a cornerstone of the global poultry industry.
Because it's cheap to produce.
Relatively, yes. That rapid growth, the efficient feed usage keeps production costs down. That's what makes chickens so affordable and accessible for so many people worldwide. It's a key factor in global food security, arguably.
Okay, but then there's the environmental footprint you mentioned earlier.
Right. That efficiency comes with considerations. Intensive farming on that scale means dealing with a lot of animal waste.
Which can be a pollutant.
It can be, if not managed properly. And raising that many animals, plus growing their feed, uses significant resources: water, land, energy.
Is the industry tackling that?
There's definitely growing awareness and investment. The article mentions work on better waste management, like recycling waste into fertilizer or energy. Also exploring more sustainable feed sources, making farm operations more energy efficient.
So trying to clean things up.
Trying to balance the economic benefits with, greater environmental responsibility. It's an ongoing effort.
So looking ahead then, what's the future hold for the Cornish Cross? Is this fast grower here to stay as the dominant bird?
Well, the sources suggest the future is tied up with innovation, especially in sustainable agriculture.
Meaning?
Research is ongoing into genetic tweaks, not just for efficiency, but maybe to address some of those welfare issues we talked about, breeding for more resilience, potentially.
Okay.
And we're also clearly seeing more farmers offering alternatives, free range, organic, catering to consumers who prioritize those values.
So more choice.
More choice, yeah. Plus, things like biotechnology, precision farming, they might offer new ways to use fewer resources while keeping some of the economic advantages.
Interesting. Okay, so if we boil it all down, the Cornish Cross is this product of really specific breeding, designed for incredible speed and efficiency.
Which brought huge economic benefits, made chicken widely available.
Right. But that same efficiency also brought up these really important questions about animal welfare, environmental impact.
Exactly. It's kind of a double-edged sword.
Dominance is clear right now, but the future seems like it'll involve navigating this tricky balance, doesn't it?
Definitely. Balancing efficiency, ethics, and what consumers like you actually want and value. That's the ongoing challenge.
So here's the final thought to chew on. When you weigh that drive for efficiency against our ethical duties and what we as consumers are demanding, what will poultry production actually look like down the road?
It's a really big question, and the answer is still being written.